Good morning. I love that song. I wish I could go back and hear that song experience it for the first time again. It's just such a beautiful tune that we get to sing. But good morning. My name is Noah Jordan. I am the new student minister here at Northeast, and today is a very, very exciting day. Today, traditionally, is our Senior Blessing Sunday, a day where we get to encourage our graduates, our high school graduates, for all they've accomplished. They've worked hard to get here, right? And we just get to celebrate them. And as a church, we get to say, hey, we've been this far with you, and we want to continue to be with you for the years ahead. But graduates, we are so proud of you. You have accomplished a lot. You've worked hard. And this milestone, this moment, is worth celebrating. In many ways, today is a joyous day. It's also a little bit sad, and it's also, in some ways, just a tad bit scary. Joyous because, right, we've already discussed, you've accomplished a lot, and we're proud of you. Sad because, well, you're all grown up now, when not too long ago you were just a baby in your parents' arms. And scary because the future is uncertain, that where you go and what you will do, the person you will become is, in many ways, a mystery. And we hope, as a church and as a family, as parents, grandparents, hope that you take with you the lessons you've learned, the experiences you've had. You take the encouragement and the wisdom from your parents, and ultimately the love and faith of your God into the next season of your life. And I wish I could say that as you step into this next season of life, I wish I could say that it was all going to be easy. I wish I could say that the hardest moment of life is behind you, but I can't promise that. But all I can do is hope that you move forward with confidence and courage to begin your journey ahead with faith. And so today, before we jump into everything, this is a tradition a little bit that Nick has begun, but I've always loved it growing up. But it's where we just take a moment to look back. Right? These kids are 18 years old, and they were born around the years of 2006 to 2007, which I think is particularly fun for me to look at the world back then, because I actually have memories of that. If you were asking me like 3 years ago what the world was like 18 years before then, I would have said, I don't know, I was 4 years old. I was just running around being a little guy. But now I was like, I can remember some of these things. You may remember Mr. Steve Irwin tragically passed away 18 years ago due to an accident. But I just remember as a kid growing up, you'd watch him on TV and just saw his excitement, his joy, right, for animals, for wildlife, and teaching others about creation. You might remember Pluto being demoted to a dwarf planet. Yeah, that was 18 years ago. That's arguably one of the most important things that's happened. I don't know what it takes to become a dwarf planet. All I know is that it was a big deal, but the Pluto hate is unreal, right? You may remember the very first iPhone hit the market. Many of you might have bought one, but absolutely changed the game, right, for what communication looks like in our pocket, what we can do with our phones. We can do more than just call. We can do more than just text. We have calculators, pictures, apps, games. It just changed the world in so many ways. And now, right, we have iPhone 16. I think the 17 is coming out this year. And so the world has changed a lot since then. And then we have, right, the greatest action movie of all time, Transformers, right? Who wouldn't love talking alien robots? How it works, I don't know, but it's great. Explosions, fight scenes, great movie. You might also remember that J.K. Rowling finished her decade-plus accomplishment of writing one of the most popular book series of all time, Harry Potter. Obviously a multi-million-dollar success, money she made from that, but very popular series. And for your sports people out there, you might remember Barry Bonds hitting his 762nd home run, breaking the record that had been held for a very, very long time. Yes, it's a little controversial, but a great feat nonetheless. And then lastly, the greatest college football player of all time, getting the Heisman, Mr. Tim Tebow himself. Love Tim Tebow, and didn't have a great NFL career. He had a few shining moments. But if you follow him now, you know he's a very outspoken person about his faith. But yeah, that was 17, 18 years ago. For many of you, that the world has changed a lot. That the clothes people wore, the music people listened to, the things that people bought, it's all changed. It's all different now. That the people that might have been in our life 18 years ago might not be in our life anymore. The friendships we've had might have changed. You might have lived in a different part of the world. But one thing that has always been consistent from then until now, and even before then, is God has been consistent. God has been present. God has had his plan. He has had his promises, and they've all been consistent. And so I think today it's really important for us to just take a moment and look back. And so we're going to look back even further today. I'm going to be in the book of Joshua today, just the first chapter. And first we'll read Joshua chapter 1, verse 1 through 3. After the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land that I'm about to give to them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as I promised Moses. For Joshua, right, this, like you guys, this is a moment of transition. It's a moment of change. Joshua is stepping into new leadership. He is getting ready to lead the Israelites into the promised land, and the future is full of unknowns. Now, I think it's kind of interesting to imagine what it would be like to be Joshua, right? That for the past 40 to 50 years, that we've just trusted in this guy named Moses. That he's, obviously through the power of God, he's led the people out of slavery. He'd been there for 400 years, and now they led them through the wilderness for 40 years, and just all this crazy stuff happened. They instituted the law, the Torah. They instituted God's presence in the midst of his people. And now we get to the end of Moses' life, and God's like, hey, guy's dead. It's your turn now. And in some ways, it's got to feel pretty daunting, right? Like, it's all on you now. Like, for me, that would be like, man, what? That's crazy. It's like when Nick stepped down, and I get to step into it, and I'm just like, man, like, I've got to follow this big, tall guy. Like, how do I do that? But in many ways, right, I think for you seniors, right, and for all of us, God doesn't say to He doesn't say to Joshua, hey, figure it out, right? He doesn't say, like, you'll figure it out, you'll do fine. He doesn't just push him into it. No, later on in the chapter, you'll read that he says, I will be with you wherever you go. That I will be with you wherever you go. Graduates, I think that what you are entering into in this season is a lot like your Jordan River, right? You're getting ready to cross into something that is unknown. You've come through a lot. You've been taught. You've been loved. You've been challenged by so many, your parents, your teachers. And I think it's important that as we step over this river, through this river, that we remember how we got here. We remember who brought us here. That someone, and I think this applies to all of us, that someone had to sacrifice something for you all to be where you're at today. That your parents had to feed you, had to clothe you. I didn't think about that very much growing up, I'll be completely honest, right? I kind of expected, like, yo, Dad, what's for dinner? Mom, what's cooking up? Where's my clean clothes, right? We kind of expect that as we're growing up, right? And we don't think of those things when we're children as as sacrifice that our parents make. We don't think of the countless hours that our teachers are teaching us, our mentors are mentoring us. We don't see those as sacrifices. And I think it's important, right, for us now to look back and recognize, well, a lot of people gave up a lot for me to be the person that I am today. I think that applies to everybody in this room. And a part of that, as we step into a new season, a new phase of life, it's just important for us to remember our story, to remember the story of those that have come before us, of the faithful that have come before them, and the story of a God who has been there since the beginning of creation, trying to establish a relationship with his people. I remember my first month of college. Me and Avery were talking, and she had just got off the phone with her parents, and I was like, "Oh, I've not even called my parents yet." And she's like, "What? Like, it's been a month." And I was just like, "I don't know. I'm just chilling, right? I'm doing fine. Right? They don't want to hear from me, right?" She's like, "Oh, I call my parents every day." I'm like, well, "I don't know if I'm going to do that," but. And I remember just finally calling my mom and dad, just like, "Hey guys," and they were just like, "Hey, it's finally nice to hear from you. Glad you're okay." And I just remember thinking, like, during that time, like, I just wanted to be myself. I wanted to go off and do my own life, and I'm independent now. Like, I don't need those guys anymore. And then I think now I look back and I actually kind of feel bad about that, but and I was like, man, like they probably were like dying, like waiting, looking at their phones, waiting to hear from, not really, but they were probably, so just wanted to hear from me. And but you look back at moments like that and you think, right, now I have this appreciation for all the things that they've done for me. But I didn't in that moment. And I think it's easy for the temptation is to step out into the world, this new experience, and forget all that happened before and just go do all this new stuff. But a lot of who you are is because of what's just happened to you, and because of where you've just come from. I think it's important that we remember that as we step into the future. Today, I don't want to go for too long, although I probably will end up going long somehow, but I want to do a little bit of show and tell today. I brought 3 objects with me that are personal to me, that I think are important lessons for life, things that I feel like God has placed on my heart, but I think they're important for faith as you are getting ready to step into your journey. And I'll be back behind the stage, or this TV real quick. This first object I brought here today, if you can't see it, is a tractor. It's a John Deere tractor. I've had it for probably over 20 years. And the man that gave that to me is my grandfather on my mother's side. It was my Papa Don. And it has followed me during every season of my life. It sat on my dresser every night, every day when I was a kid. And then it followed me to college. It sat on my desk at Harding. And then it sat in my office in Georgia, and now it sits downstairs in my office at Northeast. I know that's not the most beautiful place for a meaningful item to sit, but my grandfather, he passed away when I was 12 years old, and I don't remember every interaction I had with that man, but I remember one reason he gave me this tractor is he had a real one. He didn't have a toy one. He gave me the toy one, but he had a real one. And I remember every time I'd go over there as a little kid, he would start up the tractor. And I'm just a city boy, right? I'm just like, oh, I've never seen that before, a tractor. I don't even know what that does. I still kind of really don't know what a tractor does, to be honest with you. So if my lingo is wrong today, just a little bit of grace. But he would start up his tractor, and then I'd sit in his lap, and he would just ride the tractor up and down the street, through the lawn. And then we'd get down from the tractor, and then he'd walk us to his backyard where they had a beautiful garden, and they had cabbages, tomatoes, all these things. And I just remember as a little kid just going like, man, that's really cool. Like, I don't understand anything about this, but like to ride on a big, loud green tractor was like, wow, that was cool for me as a little kid. I think in many ways, right, for me as a kid, I saw this as farming. What this has meant to me has changed a little bit as I've gotten older, but faith in a lot of ways is like farming. It's slow, it's steady. You plant things, you water things, and you wait. And then over time, right, God brings a harvest. I don't know if any of you guys are gardeners in here. I did take up some gardening. I've still never ridden a tractor before, but other than in the lap of my grandfather. But when I took up a little bit of gardening when I was in Georgia, and I remember just the hard work of planting the seed, watering, and then coming back the next day, and it was like, oh, nothing happened. And then coming back the next day after watering, it's like, okay, nothing happened. Like this long, slow, steady process of pulling weeds, of tilling the soil so that the water can access the roots, watching out for bugs and certain things that'll kill your plants. And it's a lot of effort. It takes consistency. It takes intentionality. And then after, about a week or two, you finally start to see this little piece of, it looks like grass. You got to be careful to not pick it because it's definitely not a weed, right? And then after about a month or two, it starts to take shape and form, and then a beautiful harvest comes from that plant. You see, tractors, they don't fly. They don't sprint. They move slowly, right? I don't know. I've heard of a tractor pull before, but these tractors typically don't go fast. They move slowly. They move deliberately, one row at a time. They break the ground, they plant seeds, and trust that in time something will grow. I think faith is the same. Let's read Joshua. Ooh, I skipped that real quick, but yeah, take gratitude with you. Be strong and courageous, because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Right? What Joshua, when they step into the land, they know that there's about to be a lot of people. They're going to have to fight. And I think that as we prepare for a new journey, we have to be somewhat prepared for what's going to hit us. The soil's not going to be soft. It's going to be rough. That there's going to be some weeds we've got to pull out. That it's going to take some time. And I've got to trust the process so that my roots sink deep into the ground. And so as we step into a new stage, a new journey, we have to sink our roots deep in God. And so this next illustration I have for you today is my high school baseball bat. You can tell by it is super crusty, and that's partially because it's sat in my parents' garage for the last 7 years. But if you can tell, it has been loved well, right? I have swung this thing many times. It has taken many hits. And this week, I went over to my parents' house, and they were like, "Why are you grabbing that nasty thing?" And I was like, "I'm going to use it in my sermon." But this baseball bat, for me, I'm going to try not to slip over that, actually. I'm going to scoot that over here. But that baseball bat, in a lot of ways, reminds me of a time in my life where I worked really hard at something. I'd spent a lot of years, right? A lot of practices, a lot of batting cages, a lot of throwing sessions with my dad back and forth. I think most of the time he was chasing the ball because I couldn't hit him in the chest. But I just remember, for me, baseball is a special thing. And I've always appreciated the hard work that I put into it. And I remember my last game as a senior in high school. I was on the bus ride to I didn't know it was my last game at the time. We're in the tournament, right? If you win, you keep going. If you lose, you go home, essentially. But I knew that, right, my last game was about to happen at some point. And I remember riding the bus to the game, and I was just kind of like if I win or lose, like, what was this all for? What was all this effort and practice for? Like, if it was about winning and not losing, like, that's kind of lame. Like, at the end of the day, like, I spent all this time, all this effort working on something, put a lot of time, right? If it was about winning, like, that's kind of lame. Don't get me wrong. I like to win. I don't know anybody who likes to lose. But if it was about winning, that to me was kind of lame. And then I remembered almost as if it was yesterday. I just remember, and I hated it at the time, right? The things that your parents teach you when you're young, it's like gravel in your ears. Like, I don't want to hear that, right? But I just remember on the way home from a game, just my dad saying, I just want you to give your best. Leave it all out on the field. And I was like, man, I am giving my best. What are you talking about? Try not to make eye contact with him, but... Well, I think the same is true for faith, right? I think what God's asking of us, I think he knows, right, that perfection is kind of out of the question in my humanity alone, right? God provides the perfection for us through His Son, but I think he's all He's asking for, right, is our best. He's asking for us to leave it all out on the field, to give our all in every circumstance. That He asks you to show up. He asks you to swing the bat, to honor the ones who raised you, to honor the God who saved you. Joshua 1:7-8 reads, "Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." Not successful in the world's eyes, right? Not successful in the world's eyes, but in God's. Not fame, not fortune, not a flawless record. So wherever you go, graduates, swing your bat with integrity. Give your best to every opportunity, to every class, to every conversation, to every relationship, and let God take care of results. That it's not about winning. It's not about competition. It's not even about losing. That it's about being faithful. And the last thing I have for you guys today, if I can not slip over a baseball bat, is for you, this probably looks like a plate. And in some ways it is, but this is a wash basin. It was a gift to me when I graduated college. I'm going to set this down. I don't want Avery to get afraid that I'm going to drop it. But it is a wash basin given to me when I graduated college to obviously symbolize the John 13 scene where Jesus says, Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. Titles will come, right? Opportunities will come. Degrees will come. Promotions, achievements. They're great gifts. They're even great things, right? They're not even necessarily bad things. But what the world does not need is more people chasing status. I think we have a lot of people who chase status. But the world needs more people who are willing to pick up a towel, see the needs of the people around them, and be willing to wash the feet of the broken, of their neighbor, of the people around them. That Jesus didn't come to be served, right? But to serve and to give His life as a ransom for many. And He calls us to that same kind of relationship. That wherever you go, carry a towel, look for feet to wash, live like Jesus. And if you're afraid, if you're unsure what's next, listen to what God says to Joshua for the third time. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I think one of the biggest temptations we have when we enter into any season is to be consumers. And I think that's a big temptation just as an adult, right? To any situation I walk into, any restaurant I walk into, when I go get my hair cut, And when I just go anywhere, right, I'm just looking to consume, to get what's mine, to watch my TV show, to get my dinner, to do me. I think when we finally step into independence, when we step into what is our faith, because our faith cannot be our parents anymore. It can't be our grandparents. I think what those people have done for us matters, but it's yours now. And there has to be a shift of perspective that says, I'm not here to be a consumer anymore, but I'm here to give something. I'm here to offer something. I'm here to serve, right? Like Jesus has served us. To serve the least of these. And so this is what I leave you with. I haven't known any of our seniors for that long, just about 3 months. But I leave you with a tractor that you might be disciplined and root yourself deep in God. A baseball bat that you might give your best and be faithful. And a wash basin that you might serve others, that you might serve the least of these. And most importantly, that you might remember who walks with you into the next chapter. And that's God, right? That I'm with you wherever you go. That you are never alone. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a beautiful thing what you have accomplished today in this season, and we just want to encourage you. And I think we'll get to do that today. Real quick, I'm just going to shift directions real quick. We've got about a 5-minute video where we get to watch our graduates grow up through the years, and then we'll get to invite them up on stage and then dismiss you downstairs. But let's go ahead and we're going to start this video. I guess